Hello, anyone that's watching this, and welcome to the next in this little series about rituals. And I was thinking how to do this one and whether to actually do the full ritual, but I have done other videos that have involved full rituals, moon phase ones come to mind immediately. So what I wanted to do with this one was actually try to get you to think outside the box. So today we are going to be working with something from The Art of Ritual. Brilliant, brilliant book. Has got so many different rituals. I mean, you've got the section at the back, which is where I'm going to be working from, which is other ritual examples. You've got, what's the next one? Going backwards. The tree, Celtic tree rituals. There's the Wheel of the Year. There is rites of passage. And then at the front, so that bit here is all the examples of rituals. And then this bit is giving you the background. I say background because, as I've probably already said numerous times throughout these series, you make this your own. So ritual preparation and techniques, raising energy, looking at the elements, deity, and whether you want to use them or want to not use them will depend on you and how you like to work, as well as why you're doing this ritual. And very usefully, no, there it is, came straight back to it. I was just going to say I'd lost my space, but I haven't. It's here. That's okay. So yeah, so if you haven't got this book, I highly recommend it. You do not have to do the rituals in here as they are written. Shock, horror. You don't, honest. And that's what we're going to pick apart today, hopefully. Now, there is a blog to go along with this. So if you do not want to buy the book or can't buy the book for any reason, it's out of print by the time you see this, or it's just not available, then there is a blog with this particular ritual in its entirety there. Because my friend Ness is an absolute gem. She is brilliant. She has written a ritual, and she's written it as a protection ritual. And she even says in it that you can adjust it depending on what you feel you need the protection for. So if it's for the house, if it's for you personally, if it's for somebody else, if it's for a pet, she actually does put that in the middle of this ritual. I'm going to take that one stage further. This ritual is so, I don't know the word for it, but it just brings every element, not elements, but all the parts of a ritual Ness has brought together into this one. And I've been trying this over the last few weeks. Before I came on to say this, I would say that you can use Ness's protection ritual, the actual base, the outline of it, to actually do any ritual, whatever your intention. You could use this one base and adapt it. So that's why I thought I'm not going to actually do the ritual. I'm going to tell you that it's there. In the blog, you can actually get the ritual. So you can actually have it written, print it out, do whatever you like to it. If you can't get the book, as I say, but the book is brilliant. Because although I've picked this particular one, I would say virtually all of these could be manipulated to your own desires. And I'm sure Rachel and the girls would join me in saying, please do. We're always saying, use your intuition, adapt things, use what you have to hand. And that's the important part about this. So we'll come to the beginning bit of this. So the ritual starts with Ness saying that you will need a black candle to dispel negative energies, black tourmaline crystal to transmute into positive energy, jet to absorb negative energy, sage and rosemary as a bundle or as an incense to burn, cloves, which can be either sprinkled around or used in the incense to purify and for protection. And then you can set this up on your altar or on a table in the middle of the room or on the ground if you're doing it outside. Perfect. Lovely, straightforward, nicely encapsulated instructions. So if you were doing this for protection, and as Ness said in the middle, if you were doing it for a house protection, you could also incorporate some black salt or just normal salt, whatever you have to hand, and have that as part of your ritual, bless it as part of your ritual, and then you can sprinkle it around your borders. Now, salt isn't particularly good for the soil or for plants, so if you are a gardener, then you might want to use something else. For me, I tend to use the ashes from the incense. I cannot burn incense indoors, but I do burn incense in the garden. So if I was doing this as a protection ritual for my home, I would do it outside. I'd have a nice big pot of incense and I'd keep doing it till I had enough ashes that when they were cooled, obviously, I would then sprinkle them around my boundary. But you can use whatever comes to mind. As I say, just be aware that salt isn't always good if you are a gardener. But there are other things that you can use. Look in your cupboards. Use them. You don't have to go out and buy something specifically for this. Black candle. Haven't got a black candle. Got a tea light. Use a tea light. Use a battery-operated tea light. We talked about these in the last one. They're a representation. Use them. That's what you've got, and that's all you've got. Don't wait to do it until you can afford to go out and get these things. Use what you have to hand. But if you've got a black candle, then use a black candle. The tourmaline and the jet. Now, I have actually got a piece of tourmaline. I haven't got any jet. So what I would do is I would use the tourmaline, but I would probably substitute the jet with, I'm thinking, for this particular, if I was doing it as protection, I'd probably put in clear quartz. However, if you haven't got any crystals, or the crystals that you have got you don't feel fit your intention, how about a pebble? This is a very nice pebble, actually. Isn't that a lovely shape? I love this. It just called, as I was thinking about putting this together, it just said, show me, show me. So I am showing, because it's lovely, and it stands very nicely. But yeah, a pebble. Doesn't have to be a particularly nice pebble. It can just be a pebble that when you're thinking about putting this together, you either have indoors or you go out into your garden and you see one and it just lights up and you think, I'm going to use you. You don't have to use crystals. You can use pebbles. You could use a stick of wood if you're out for a walk and a twig is there and you just know that it's there and it's for you. Then you pick it up, you bring it home. If you're like me, you have a bucket of twigs that have done this, and at some stage in the future you'll find that you use them for whatever reason, trust me. But sometimes it's you want to do something, you go for a walk and you come back with the items that you need to carry this ritual out. You don't need to go and buy anything. Look around, see what you've got. Now, the other reason that I'm doing this ritual as part of this course, series, whatever you want to call it, is because the first one was very simple. had no words to it unless you wanted to put words to it. Ness does give you the circle casting. She gives you calling in the quarters. And does she give, didn't see, no. So there's no deity. So if you wanted to add a deity, you could do, but this is literally circle casting and calling in the quarters. So calling in the directions, calling in whatever you want to call them. Just calling in the directions. And then she says in the middle bit, as I say, that you can adapt this to whichever protection thing you want to do. And then you've got the thanking of the quarters and the closing of the circle. And I wanted to give something that had more words, because you may want to do this with other people, but you don't have to, because this is a very neat, it's beautifully, Ness has really done a beautiful job on this. It is such a neat, even I, as I said in the first one, I like simple. I do not do complicated. If it's got too many words in it, my brain goes off and I just can't focus to do the work that I'm wanting to do. However, this one I use, and as I say, over the last few weeks, I've tried using it, changing the words slightly, changing the colours of the candles, crystals, not using crystals, using stones, using candles, not using candles, using incense outside, anointing the candle with oil instead of using incense, sprinkling the herbs around the candle. Are you getting my drift here? Adapt it. Change the words so that they flow for you and your intention. For protection, this is absolutely brilliant. So the opening circle. Here I stand in this sacred space. Our energies are connected. By the powers of the elements that reside, this circle is now protected. Straightforward, simple, right to the point, perfect, absolutely perfect. I won't do the quarter because you can read it on the blog. But then closing the circle is equally. I have stood in this sacred space. My energies are connected. By the powers of the elements that reside, this circle is undone, but still protected. Isn't that lovely? And the quarter calls are done in that same very straightforward, to the point way. Ness, perfect, absolutely, and can be adapted for any of your intentions. And this is what I'm trying to get over with this. Don't be frightened by the words. They don't have to rhyme. They don't have to be all flowery. If you're in a big group, then it's nice to do that. But if you're in a big group, you're not the only one that's done that. You've had one small part to prepare, because there's 4, 5, 6, however many of you that are bringing the ritual together. If you're doing one for yourself, if you want to make it flowery and wordy, do. If you want to keep it simple, do. It's your ritual. You do what you want to. I hope this has been useful. Please get the book. It is, because there are so many rituals in here that you can adapt or mix and match. Change the wording, move the wording from one to the other. But there's so many ideas in here. And as I say at the beginning, it tells you why you may want to include something in your ritual. What's the reasoning behind it? Because then you can make an informed choice of whether you do include it or not, depending on your intention and how you like to work. So please do put a comment if this has been useful or not, because I can waffle, as you may have noticed, away quite happily, and I just hope that this is being useful for somebody. So please let me know, and I will see you again.